Because we're creatives, like people need to be impressed right when they open my website. I feel like we're 6 months ahead of our journey because of State 48 Foundation, because like they're a successful business. So if they believe in ours, then there has to be something there. I've always said if I'm not scared of what I'm doing, then I'm probably not doing the right thing.
I'm here with Katelyn Beal. She is a multi-talented entrepreneur, video editor, production manager, and the co-owner of Side Haus agency.
Yes.
Yes. You have also worked with Fyresite in the past, your past employee, since have moved on to greener pastures.
That's all you? I'm not saying that.
But I wanted to talk to you today about what you're up to, and probably give a little bit insight into how important video is for companies nowadays.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into video.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. Video for me started very young. Kind of just made videos with my friends growing up, and then I moved into a high school class doing it, and that's really what molded me. My high school class was really cool because we actually had budget for video, so we were using high-end technology, and it really allowed me to get into it, and I learned that I just loved editing. So I kept editing. I started taking professional work in high school, and then I went to ASU for film and media production, spent 4 years there, graduated, and I still was in video for a hot minute. I worked at Arizona Public Service for a year on a contract, and then did 2 years of my own business, actually. This isn't my first rodeo business-wise, but that one failed. At least being full-time failed. I hit a hard summer, and I just was still fresh out of college, didn't have financial support, so I wasn't prepared for that giant dip in the summer. So after I learned that I just could not sustain well enough at that point, I realized that I really wanted to own my own business still, but I just didn't have the business acumen experience.
What does that mean?
Business acumen is kind of like the know-how of business. Like, how do contracts work, negotiations work? How can you run a business? What does the day-to-day look like? What do those systems look like? Like, I didn't have any of that before. So when I realized that business was not sustainable, I decided to join startups with the intent of trying to be close to C-suite so I could learn business acumen. So I did that for 4 years. I went between 3 startups, one being a cannabis company, one being Wolf and Bear Media, which is a video company, and then Fyresite. And I kind of got what I needed in terms of business acumen and learned how the day-to-day should really look. And then I just was like, all right, it's time. So I went back to video, and I partnered up with my bestie, Lou, and we're doing a video editing agency now. Side Haus Agency.
Side Haus Agency.
Side Haus Agency.
That's awesome. It seems like you had a clear path maybe after you had the failure of a business. Yeah.
I was just thinking that on the drive here, actually. It was the failure that made me realize I just didn't know enough to be a business owner, or at least at the level that I wanted to be. And I remember creating that path for myself, like realizing if I'm missing this, how do I get it? If I'm missing this skill set, how do I get that skill set? And I knew, sure, I could probably go back to college or learn it through an internship, but I'm the type of person that I learn best through the nitty gritty. So I was like, I would prefer spending a few years away from my own business and just doing it for others. And then when the timing is right, come back and do it again. Better.
So what would you define it as failure?
My bank account was empty, and my credit cards were starting to rack up. You know, when I started that business, I didn't even realize it was a business. I'm like, I'm just gonna edit for other people. And I was at coffee with someone, and he was like, "Yeah, how's your business going?" And I said to him, I was like, "Business?" And he's like, "Yeah, like what else are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I'm running a business." So I just didn't have the know-how at all to run a business, but I was able to make it 2 years. That's because I had really great people in my corner, and I had clients I collected from elsewhere. So it was all word of mouth for 2 years. And when the work kind of dried up, which it tends to in Arizona, because it's just so hot, people don't want to go film, I was not prepared. I didn't have any leads out there for new work, anything like that. So work just halted for me, and I ran out of money.
Right.
Yeah, and I just wasn't willing to rack up my credit cards any more than I did.
Right. No, yeah, you have to draw the line.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was drawing the line. And I think that I remember the day being like, my husband was in the office and I was in the bedroom, like with the doors open, you could see through to each other. And I was just like sitting in bed crying with like my head in my hands and just like, wanting to pull my hair out. And I was just losing it. And my husband just looks across and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I don't know if I can do this anymore." And he's like, "I just don't know if anything is worth it that much for you right now. Like, I don't like seeing you like this. I don't know if it's worth it." Mm-hmm. And that was a night that I was like, not like this. I think it could be worth it eventually, but with what I know now, it's not worth it like this.
Yeah.
And that's when I started making a plan and pulled out a notebook and was like, well, what am I missing here? Because other people do this successfully, so what am I missing? And that's when I identified I just didn't know how to run a business. I had no clue.
Right. And how old were you at that time?
That would have been at 26. I started that business at 24, but it would have been 26 when I realized that, like, no.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work.
You got to fail early.
Yeah. And for sure. And that's why I'm grateful I did it. And again, like sometimes I think past Katelyn is wild that I lasted 2 years, just like figuring it out. I didn't even have a website, didn't have, like the worst business cards you could ever see. Like I just made it work. So I have a lot of pride in that. And I think that's where the grit started. If I was able to push that long without knowing what I was doing, then good for her. But
right.
It did end up draining my savings. And then once the summer hit, like I just couldn't sustain. And I actually ended up working at the Phoenix Children's Museum, which was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I just like picked up a job there because I was like, I can't be broke. Like I can't do this anymore. So I got a job there while I figured everything out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you had this whole 4-year journey until now you're back in the saddle again.
Back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle. And then
feels great.
You kicked off Side Haus with a grant.
A grant
From the State 48 Foundation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huge game changer.
Yeah. How did you win that, by the way?
So that grant specifically, they have you attend 3 out of 4 sessions, and these are entrepreneur learning sessions. So you hear speakers who have been in the game for a while. And if you attend those sessions, then you can be eligible to apply. And you have to create a business plan, or at least just share your business plan. But at that point, we didn't have one, my partner Lou and I. So we had to create a business plan, do a video, and just like a slew of questions. And it was great because we knew we wanted to do this business, but the grant really made us get our stuff together and like actually make a full-blown plan. So once we submitted that, it was just a waiting game. And we were really grateful to get, I think it was the 3rd top slot, which was $5,000. And that, I remember Lou and I being like, if we get anything, maybe we'll get like a couple hundred, like maybe we'll get like $100. And then they're like $5,000. And we're like, that's crazy. And it made a huge difference. Right.
So what did that kickoff look like? And then kind of tell us a bit about what Side Haus is and what it's turned into now.
Yeah. Side Haus Agency was born with the idea of Lou and I were both freelancers, and work was getting a little slow for us. But when I reached out to my friends who own production companies, they weren't saying the same. Usually if work's getting slow for me, I call my friends and work is getting slow for them. And I'm like, okay, it's an industry thing. But that wasn't the case. And I was like, well, that's not right. Why are they getting work and we're not? So I really just sat there and thought, and I came to the realization that they were a company and they had an established presence, and that when hiring a company, it's like you don't have to worry about people's vacations and like that sort of thing often. Whereas when people hire freelancers, like that's what you think about. Like I'm having to deal with like a person. So that's kind of when I realized like, well, our clients love Lou and I. The people that were hiring us only hired us. I was like, so if people love us, but work's slowing down, why don't Lou and I join forces and create a company that will create more of a presence and allows us to actually collaborate in a way to elevate our product anyways and elevate our services, right? Now you get 2 people versus 1. That's where it started. It also started from just knowing that the reason people were hiring only Lou and I to edit is because we're very organized and we're very on it people. And I've just been told that editors aren't always that way, and it could be a challenge at hiring editors, which is weird because, to be honest, I have plenty of friends who are editors who aren't that way. So it's interesting to hear this over and over, but I do. So we just realized, like, let's join forces and create something a bit different. We don't really attack it from a freelance point of view. We are going more for staff augmentation. So we feel like we're a part of another company's team. whether that be a video production company that needs the post side covered, will come in and cover post-production, or whether that be a business that maybe they have someone in-house who does their social media, but that person doesn't edit. So we can turn out the edits and then hand them back. We've been going kind of both those routes.
So you're embedded in the company for a period of time.
Yep, exactly. And what we do is we kick off figuring out what their project management system looks like and what their communication system looks like. And if they don't have anything in place, then we will go ahead and use ours and kind of introduce them to that and making sure that they're comfortable with it. But usually they're ecstatic. Usually they're like, I've never worked with someone outside my company who cared enough to put the effort into project management.
Right.
So either way, we'll either integrate with what they have or we'll offer our own. But again, that's something that I just haven't heard too many video editors doing. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of came out of the gate with something unique, right? So that's kind of how you have to hit a market to be able to succeed. Usually if you want to try to flip it on its head a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, changing the game a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit at a time. And so,
I mean, some people a lot, but ours, at the end of the day, video editing is, as long as you get a high quality product that's on time, on budget, people are typically happy. So we wanted to offer something on top of that, which was the staff augmentation.
Right. It's a great niche into some businesses. You do it a little differently.
Exactly.
Who are the businesses you don't have to say exactly the names, but what are the businesses you're working with? What's kind of the common theme?
It's been a variety so far. The common theme is that it's been warm leads, to be honest. It's people we already knew, or Lou, she's a model actress, so she's actually on set for other reasons, and she's really friendly and gets in conversations and has learned like a couple times now that whoever hired her for the modeling actually needs an editor. So we've been working with video production companies, being their full service post-production. We've been working with other agencies, and we also have like a major retailer out here that we work directly with their team.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's a great start to the agency, and it just started up about a year ago, right? Yes,
we won the grant, and we used that money to create the foundation and build systems. And there was all the hype from the grant too. And so we really kind of rode that wave and tried to get our social media up and just do things to continue the hype. So appreciative of it. Like I feel like we're 6 months ahead of our journey because of State 48 Foundation, between the money and the hype and the recognition. And even still, like, people in the Valley know them. And if we mention that we're a grant winner, like, I feel like it gives us credibility from the get-go. Because like, they're a successful business, so if they believe in ours, then there has to be something there.
No, that's very exciting to me.
It's
like
crazy.
That's a big kickoff. And I know that once you got that grant, one of the first tasks was getting all the software you needed to really establish yourself. But then you also went into Rebrand.
Yes.
With one of my past guests, Eric.
Yes, we got our branding done by Eric and then his girlfriend, Cameo. It was awesome.
Yeah.
For me, I knew being in the creative space, you are judged very quickly, like for your branding and website, because people are looking at it, wondering if you're going to offer the quality that they need. And so I feel like branding is like a first glance, is this worth my time or not? So I knew it was going to be worth it to hire a professional. And Eric's just done amazing work on the Fyresite rebrand and other branding that I've seen him do. And I mean, I just love Eric. I love working with him. So working with him and then having him actually bring his partner Cameo on, it was really fun. It was collaborative. I ruined the first round. Like, I had ideas of like, what if we really dug into the house idea, Side Haus? And they were so polite to go with it. And they sent the ideas, and it reminded me of Realtor. Like, everything, I was like, oh crap. It all looks like a realtor. But they were so cool about it. Like, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, ditch my idea, do whatever, like, works for you, like, what comes to mind for you. And then that's when they dug in the direction that we landed in, and it was a million times better than what I thought anyways.
Yeah, it looks really clean.
Thank you.
It looks really clean. And I'm sure that it instills like a lot of faith into the clients and the prospects that are coming in.
People have told me that. And I'm so grateful, because it was an idea, but you never know if your idea is going to work. And people have been telling me, like, in new meetings where I haven't known them before, that it reminds them of like a New York agency, like that style. And I'm just so grateful, because I'm like, oh, I feel like that takes like a little bit of weight off my shoulders, because that's all I want is people to just look at it and like know we're official, and we're not just like two buds making it, like, trying things out. Like, we're really establishing ourselves as a true business.
Yeah, there's a couple places I want to go
Yeah.
with the conversation here, but like staying on this branding and what it means to you. Why is it important? Like what elements of a website and a video, why is that important for businesses to have?
Yeah, video and websites really go hand in hand. Just to focus on the website first for a second, again, it comes back to that first impression. And especially in my industry, because we're creatives, like people need to be impressed right when they open my website because I'm needing them to trust me with their creative. But even outside of our industry, we're really just seeing that a website allows you to establish presence, not just by people like literally being on your website, but by the ability to have SEO and to rank higher and to just be found. Having a properly built website is a huge part of that. And it's funny because I'm not just talking about it looking pretty and being functional with like good UI. I'm talking about the back end and having that established in a way that is being optimized for SEO. That's what I learned from working here at Fyresite. Like I had no idea about that, but seeing the power of that and seeing clients come who hadn't touched that yet at all for their website, and then they get a redesign with us, and it does end up looking beautiful thanks to like Eric or Paul, but it's also SEO optimized, like thanks to Zach, if we're talking WordPress. And I've seen clients, their traffic just completely change after we get it up, and it lives for like a month, gets all that SEO juice, and it completely changed their traffic. And these were like major clients too, and major companies that were doing great before, but were doing like amazing afterwards. So learning that at Fyresite, I knew it was instrumental that we did it right. We're still working on our website. We're working with actually one of the guys from here to help build it out. We're using Webflow, and we just got a template. And I'm like trying to take all the knowledge I know of the SEO that I learned here and apply it. The second thing is video, and like why is video important in general, and why is video important on websites? It's your story. One thing, words and pictures can only go so far. People really want to connect with a face and with a voice and with a story. The second thing is it kind of goes back to that optimization. There's actually a lot of opportunities with video, and is probably one of the reasons we're doing this right now, right? Because you can use this and take it and put it on YouTube and put the transcript, and you can get the SEO juice that way. And then you could take it and put it into a blog and get some SEO juice that way. Like there's a lot of opportunity with video if it's used properly. And that's what's cool too, is like when you hit up Side Haus and we're talking about making your video, like I know enough to be able to ask the questions of like, and then where is this going? And if your only answer is, I don't know, or like, oh, like on social. And I'm like, oh, cool. How are you posting on social? And if people don't know, like I like to take the time and educate them on best practices, because I don't want the video just to be posted somewhere and then like die.
Yeah.
I want to help them actually have it serve them more than the initial purpose, which is getting that SEO juice, as I say. Yeah, that's a lot of rambling, but at the end of the day, like having a video on your website and then continuing to use it in your content moving forward, whether that's blog, social, it's really important for those reasons. People want to see a face and connect with you, and it can also help in the back end.
Right. For businesses just starting out, and trying to get a leg up, I spoke to Dustin yesterday about digital marketing, ads, all that good stuff. But people want to know, like, if they're fresh business going on to Instagram, they're coming on to Facebook, how can they kind of get a leg up if they're just starting out? They have a small budget. What would you kind of recommend for small businesses trying to get a leg up with video?
A tangent. I love that you mentioned Dustin, because Dustin is who gave us the grant. Like it was like his company that did the donation for the grant. So he gave us the check and stuff.
Oh.
So thanks, Dustin.
Thanks, Dustin.
Okay, so getting a leg up in video, it's being very intentional, I would say, and knowing where your interests in the process lie. Some people like yourself are down to get in the weeds and learn how to film right and get audio right and then edit right. Like if you're willing to do that, more power to you, and learning those skills actually can go really far. It can kind of have a lot of crossover. But if you know, like, I'm not willing to do that, especially if you have to focus on a full business, like I get it, then there's two routes. One, you can be just so social and use the tools that social has, like Instagram or TikTok. You can film and edit in the app. I feel like most people can manage that even if you're not wanting to spend forever. Like you can do something there, or you can hire out. You can hire either someone to film and edit everything, or like with us, sometimes people will film with their iPhones or have creators film with their iPhones and then send us the stuff to edit. That works out well too. What I also say being intentional though is you can waste your time making videos. And the reason being that when you're on social, sure, you can do like 1 to 2 videos about yourself, about your company, what your mission is, but social isn't made for that. Social, you can make content about yourself and release it on social, but that's actually not social media marketing, that's content marketing, right? And social, again, it could be a distribution source for content marketing, but content marketing and social media marketing have 2 different purposes. If you're getting on social media and you're making videos for it, you actually really want to focus on what your audience wants, which is going to be a laugh, immediate value, or like literally something like a giveaway. That's what social is. And it's also about like building a community and talking. And so posting things that can start a conversation and then taking the due diligence to answer comments and to go elsewhere and to write on other people's posts and comment and create conversation elsewhere too. If you're not willing to do those things and you really, really still understand like the power of video and you want it to be somewhere in your business, I would say hire someone to make a video for your website, like an About Us video. Like start there at least. I know it's an investment, but that will probably have the most bang for your buck if you're not willing to put time into social. Because again, when people go to your website, they can learn so quickly who you are, your passion, your presence, and that can't be delivered in the same way through copy or through photos.
Yeah, I totally agree. Having that one video that is kind of like your hero video, you have it on your website.
Yeah.
And then we have it on like our YouTube, but we're coming out with a new one soon for Fyresite. But yeah, having all that content, I feel the same way. It's useless if you're not using it right. Like I don't know how many videos I've produced where it's like it wasn't centered around what the people want, but more so what we're trying to sell. Yeah. And then it flops because no one wants to be sold to.
Yeah. And I hate to say that because I don't like saying people like your effort like wasn't worthwhile. That's why I'm saying be intentional. Because if you take some time to think through it, you like create goals and like expectations and then use the data to analyze, did this matter or not? That's at least a way it could not be worthless, even if it like flops. If you use that data to improve yourself, at least you have that. You know, because that's what I'm watching our social. We've been posting since I think December, and some of them are, I mean, just when you look at like the stats, some of them are lower, some of them are higher, and I try not to get too bummed out about the lower ones because I could just use them as a learning experience. And also, I mean, the Instagram algorithm is just a beast.
Yeah.
Pain.
It's a lot, and you guys have been doing well with your socials. Feel like you kind of have your finger on the pulse with what people want to see or what's trending right now?
Trying to. It's hard. It's really hard. It's funny because I feel like I have to constantly put on a happy face on social, and like Lou and I are so grateful to have this opportunity. I don't want to sound like I hate it, but sometimes it's really hard just to constantly keep up and think of ways to show what's important, which is our business, but also have people like it and like be interested in watching it. It's not easy. And shout out to anyone who's like a full-time social media manager. You guys have it. It's wild. It's hard. It's hard
stuff. Can't imagine a job like that. Except, oh wait, I'm living it.
That's you?
You said put on it on a smile too, and that's one thing that we spoke about the other day was that one of the videos I loved that you had posted was an emotional video where I think you were having an emotional breakdown on camera, but it was one where it stuck on my head because it was different and it was real. And it wasn't you just putting on a smile and an act. And I think that having genuine connection with people too is something that video really conveys. Whereas like a product image is just a product image. And so it's only when you add that element of like humanity to it that people really like it sticks with people.
It just came about because I was crying while editing. I was not even editing. I was listening to a song. I was listening to a song for a video I was making. The video was emotional and the song was emotional. And oftentimes the song can be foundational. And so I went that route. And when I was listening to it, I could just see the unfolding of the video I wanted to create. And it just made me emotional and it made me cry. And so I was like, I'm going to whip out my phone real quick and get video of this and show, because it feels silly. But I was like, if I post this, at least my clients will know I care. Like, this is how much I care about your video, is I'm sitting here crying on a Thursday. And like, the people make jokes that editors are the robots of film, because we're like really the ones who are like at the computer all day in the dark and just chilling and editing. And I wanted to show them, like, we're not robots. We cry. So I'm glad, because I thought people were concerned. We got like comments who were like, we love you, Katelyn. And I like call my business owner and I'm like, should we take that video down? Like, are people actually concerned for me? I don't think they were. I think my business partner was like, no, I think you're just reading into it. And I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I want to kind of talk a bit about your business partner, what it's like having a business relationship, because I always find that kind of interesting of what people's experiences are. So you and Lou have a bit of history together, but you didn't start working together until the whole freelancing, the mind meld of freelancing solo. We would just work better as a team. It's kind of what sense it was.
Lou used to be in LA doing film there. She worked on, I think it's The Bad Guys, that animation. She worked on The Flash, so she did TV too. And I mean, she crushed it in LA, but the lifestyle there, like, she just didn't want to keep up with it. She could, but she didn't want to. Working 60 hours a week, being called at like 2 a.m., hey, come edit for us. So when she came back, I met up with her. One, totally honest, I always was concerned that I stifled my career by not going to LA, because that's what everyone tells you. If you don't go to LA, what are you doing in film? What are you doing in video? And so I kind of wanted to get with her to selfishly learn, like, did I stifle my career? And then we hung out, and one, I learned no. I didn't feel like I did. I feel like I did the right thing by establishing a presence in Arizona and getting clients here. And two, that she was going to want to start freelancing out here too. And I knew her work was great just from the stuff she'd posted. So I gave like all my clients her information, and they all like hired her. And then over the course of like those 3 years from us like sharing clients, that's where I learned like none of our clients were hiring other editors anymore, because before they would have a couple on deck because volume of projects, but like they didn't hire anyone else anymore. They were just hiring Lou and I.
Oh, okay. That's as freelancers?
As freelancers, yeah. Like on their, like they had like 4 or 5 editing freelancers that they would call our clients. And over the course of a couple years, they weren't calling anyone more besides us. It was just Lou and I who were getting all the projects. And that's again, between that and like hitting another slow summer and just trying to think, what can we do here to help alleviate this? That's when I realized, I'm like, obviously we're offering something that the other editors, these people working with, weren't, and we're going to be stronger together. And also it was cool because our partnership, we led with this focus of having work-life balance as well. We both love to travel, so we work our travel calendars around each other so that they could take a vacation and our clients don't feel like a lapse or anything. It's just a quick handoff. And like we have a lot of boundaries with ourselves and with our clients. Like almost all business conversations stay in Slack unless it's like a red alert.
Right.
Because that way she can look at it when she has time in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So she's a morning person. She'll look at it when she's online. And I'm a night owl, so I'll work on it when I'm online. And it's really great. It's been cool to have that be a focus too.
What is it like pivoting from that full-time job to now working with a partner in a business where it's on you to motivate yourself? I mean, maybe motivate each other, but it's still a lot of self-motivation. How does it work out for you? Does having a partner help?
Yeah. Going from the full-time role here at Fyresite, because I was doing product ownership, sales, contracting, negotiation, also like kind of just like working with the internal team to build processes. I'm really grateful that I went from doing like a somewhat like pseudo business development role, because it already had me in the mindset of like kind of constantly grinding in the workplace and having self-motivation, because if I didn't help get sales here, like I would not be contributing to the well-being of the company, therefore like my friends, right? Because it's at the end of the day, like sales give my friends money to live, right? Like it's what gives them a job.
Yeah.
So having already had that mindset, leaving here really helped stepping into my business and like continuing that self-motivation and grind. It kind of just like lifted and shifted. And having a business partner working with Lou for that has just, it's really been amazing because we have motivated each other when we are down and we have strengths in different areas. And we've been talking a lot about how we each want to be knowledgeable on each other's thing to have like checks and balances. But at the end of the day, we both don't have to be good at the same thing. It's better actually if one of us is better at this and one of us is better at that. I think the last thing that's really been helpful with like Lou and I is that we actually see the same therapist. So we have the same emotional language. I know.
Are you supposed to like not do that?
No, you can see the same therapist. Our therapist just doesn't talk. You know what I mean? It's not like my therapist is like, Katelyn, guess what Lou said about you today?
Yeah,
no.
talking about
like,
the
it's
other.
completely no. It's completely separate.
So Lou was talking about you.
I know.
I didn't want to say anything.
I don't want to say anything. No, we're completely separate. She's actually offered mutual sessions if we need one, but we haven't yet. But we see the same therapist, so we have the same emotional language, which has been really helpful as well.
So also, I remember when we were speaking the other day that, again, with this transition from Fyresite into full-time work, there was that point you hit where you still have your one foot in the door here, and 1 foot out, but you were hitting that 8-hour mark of just like staring at a wall and wanting to make that change and make that full pivot into the agency sphere. So what was that moment kind of like when you had to finally say, this is it?
Yeah, I was really grateful that like Jason and Sean let me go part-time here so that I could work on Side Haus and work here and still have that stability. And so that's where like the 8 hours came from, was I was spending 8 hours a week at Fyresite. And after a couple of months, I was chatting with like my mentor. He's been my mentor for quite a while now, and he had asked me what my 5-year plan was. And I was like, I hardly have a 1-year plan, and I made that because I got a grant. Like I'm living in the day-to-day. It's hard for me to think about that. And that's kind of, because earlier I had asked him if he thought I should leave Fyresite or not, and he said, I don't know, let's talk about it. So that was his question, is like, what's your 5-year plan? And I was like, I don't have one. And well, he's like, that's your answer right there. Like as a business owner, you need time to just stare at a wall. And like 8 hours a week might not feel like it's that much time being taken away from you. And he's like, I understand it's contributing to some stability of having a stable income, but at the same time, it's taking away your future if you're not having time to just sit and think what you do want to do and what this business needs to grow into. And so I sat on that for a couple weeks, and that's just kind of where I realized I think he was right. I think I was burning the candle at both ends a bit, trying to kind of have my cake and eat it too, have like this awesome business and like do what I want, but also have the stability of a part-time job. And so I decided that was it. And I did leave Fyresite, and I mean, it has made a difference because we are starting to better understand what our future is. And I've had a lot more time to stare at walls and just think about what we can become and where we need to be putting our efforts in. And it's great. Like we're working on a spec ad right now. That's really fun that we're partnered with Wolf and Bear for, and just trying to do a lot of things while we're still early in the business and while we have steady work still. Cause that's what's been great is we both have work, Lou and I, like Lou's full-time Side Haus as well now. So we've had enough work to keep us both steady. Trying to just add on top of that, okay, cool, if our bills are paid, what can we do right now that is out of the box that might help us bring business in a creative way? And I wouldn't have had that time if I was still here at Fyresite.
Yeah. And you finally got out.
You make it sound like you guys were like holding me against my will.
Yeah. Well, I tried. I tried to keep you here.
Yeah. No, it's just really cool again, like looking back, like those 4 years of gaining the business acumen. I'm grateful for every role I've had, but I would say that Fyresite really threw me into it, and I learned so much in being able to work on like $250,000 to $500,000 projects and like helping with a team and being able to organize it for everyone and like asking questions and taking everyone's thoughts, the designers, the developers, and like our third-party people, and like helping collect everything together. It just really changed my mindset, and it helped me learn to be a leader as well. And I just feel like I take that with me everywhere I go, and I'm so grateful.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Katelyn. This has been a great talk. I feel like I've learned a lot about kind of your path, becoming an entrepreneur,
Thank you.
becoming a business owner, and like I just wish the most success to you because I believe in you, and I feel like it's finally time.
Time to shine. I hope.
Time to shine.
We're so early in our business, but I'm so grateful for the grant to give us that foundation and the support and the people who do believe in us to allow us to be full time. And it's just time for Lou and I to do the grind and keep pushing and take this first a little under a year, but first 9 months and make it a long-term thing. And just so grateful.
Awesome.
And scared, but grateful.
Yeah. What is life without a little bit of scaredness?
Yeah.
A little bit of fear.
I've always said if I'm not scared of what I'm doing, then I'm probably not doing the right thing. Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. Well, with that, thank you, Katelyn.
Thanks.
Everybody check out Side Haus Agency if you're looking for some
Agency.
editing, some content.
Yes, please.
And we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thanks. Bye, guys.